Hey everybody, this is Jeannette Echevarria with the Freedom Network, and I'm here today on Wednesdays, Unplugged Wednesdays. So the main purpose of our training today is definitely to have an open dialogue. I love to hear for everybody's experience. We have some amazing talent here today that, of course, I want to dive into deeper, getting to know what has made you successful, what is working for you in your business, in today's market, in today's way of living. And I want to welcome you guys to definitely unmute yourselves. Let's talk. Let's get deep into conversations, and share. Right. I think I live in a world that I want to be open to the abundance of sharing and collaboration, and I think it's just wonderful to be here all together. And let's get into it. Let me make sure I can share my screen. There, you guys. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. So, I come in here on Wednesdays having a backup plan, right? So I always have to have a little backup plan just in case, we're gonna like stimulate conversations. But our industry in real estate, and honestly in any kind of in business, relationship is what really drives the business. And so I really want to talk about some of the principles, that I participate on, and I'm sure that you guys can bring in a little light into them as well. But sorry, it's a little slow. My computer's a little slow today. So the principles of building the trust, right? Relationship that's the foundation. You have to build trust. If you don't have that trust, that relationship is really not existent. And so I definitely want to dive into that. So the three principles that I live by is consistency. So live with integrity, and we'll dive into each of these. Communication, right? Being honest and listen. And competence, right? Having a deeper understanding of your industry, of your client as well. Like if you don't have that trust, if you have not taken the time to listen and really know what's happening in the world, what they truly want, how can you help them, right? How can you achieve their goal? And so these are the principles that I definitely want to focus on, and I would love to hear a little bit about you guys. But one of the things that I think a lot of people forget, we're in sales, right? We're selling ourselves. We want so much to make things happen. Sometimes we lose that integrity. I mean, I have to be honest, right? I see it. And honestly, sometimes I've lived it where, I tell someone, hey, I'm going to call you back. I'm going to send you this email with all this information, and I just lose track of time and I don't. And so living by integrity or with integrity is huge to building that trust with this client, right? And with our relationships. And so ensure that, your actions are meeting your words, right? And so what I mean by that is, live with that integrity, and take the time, be in the moment. If you're talking to that person at the moment and you're building that trust, right, and you're getting to know them, take some notes, do whatever you need to do for yourself, right? Take notes on the computer, write them down, whatever works for you, but ensure that you are taking the time to getting to know them. Guys, if you guys can mute yourself, unless you definitely want to chat, I welcome you to talk, but if not, please mute yourself. So yes, being consistent in building that trust. So ensuring that you're doing whatever it takes to being there in front of those people at any time. And do you guys have anything you'd like to add into this topic right now of consistency when it deals with building that trust in those relationships?
I do. I'd like to thank you for for teaching us that, because it made me remind myself of an email that I promised to send out to a client that I haven't, and it's been a week. So I think I'm about due.
It happens. We all get busy. We all,
Yeah.
I honestly, I have my notes and I just remind myself, it's just,
Mhm.
practicing those best behaviors of writing, whatever works with you and for you, right? Your systems that you took in place for yourself. I like to write notes, and honestly, I like to have my little squares, and I fill them in. And, I do this a lot to every single action that I may need to do. So ensure that, but that you are doing this, but following up is that method of consistency, right? Like going back to it, making sure that you did what you're supposed to do and what you told and you promised your people that you were going to do.
Yeah, that whole overselling yourself sometimes it's hard to hard not to do sometimes, like I have a client that I'm working with, and we're doing a residential, transaction. I just got it under contract, but they wanted to buy or their lease is up. They wanted to get some commercial property, and there was nothing on the MLS, but everything is on LoopNet, and I don't know. It's just I know how to do it, but I wasn't as excited about it. And then I said, yeah, I could do it, and then I haven't, maybe because I didn't really want to get into all that, but I did. So now I got to follow through,
You do. You got to live with integrity, right? That's your
Yeah.
what you're putting out there. That person's going to have that. That's your impression, right? That you're going to leave
Hmm.
with them. So
For
following
sure.
through, and sometimes if we're too busy, you just have to be honest with yourself and your clients,
Hmm.
and say, hey, guess what? Let me partner with someone else because I've done it, and honestly, I'll continue to do it. Leverage, right? If you have
Hmm.
partners in the industry, we're all partners in the industry. If we all, if we're in the same company, that's the beauty of it. Let's partner together, right? And if I'm too busy to help this person, but maybe somebody else in the neighborhood can. And so I'm sure that that experience for your client's going to go a long way, and that you did the right thing.
I agree.
Thank you for collaborating.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. So we're going to move on to the next principle, which is communication. Without communication, where are we? We're communicating right now on a daily basis. This is what we do, right? So making sure that you're being open and honest. I think that's a huge foundation that that's going to build that trust, and it's going to build long-lasting relationships. So ensuring that you're there, be in the moment. Take the time that if you're working with a new partner, you're working with a new client, take the time to be in the moment, right? Listen, really listen, because that's how truly you're going to see those underlying messages that they actually say in conversation that are not truly what they may be saying. Hey, I want this, but maybe those hidden messages, if you're not listening, you're not going to capture them, right? And so you might actually find opportunities, or you might find something that it's going to be something much more important than what they even thought that they wanted. And so that is going to be your responsibility to ensure that you're in the moment, you're open, you're listening. And then also you got to be honest and transparent with your clients. So just like I talked about before, being true to myself, knowing that I'm too busy to maybe take on this new person, although I would love the business, but at the end of the day, it's about that relationship you have with them and about them getting to their goal. So for me, it's much more important for them to reach their goal and know that I had some kind of part in it than me just screwing it all up and having them be miserable in the relationship that we've built together and maybe going elsewhere, right? And so at least you can, listen, be transparent, be consistent, right? Like constant communication is important. And honestly, like I am a big yes person, and everybody here in this call that knows me, right? I come in with a smile. I come with my positivity. And sometimes when you have bad news, Like, it's hard, right? It's challenging. I think earlier in my career, it was really challenging for me to pick up that phone and let them know something was wrong in the transaction, right? And so, at the end of the day, you have to do what's right for your clients. You have to do what's right for the transaction, right? And so, it's just like a band-aid, just peel it off, let it go, let them know this is the news that I got, but have a solution in place. And so that was my secret sauce, is always having the solution before I address the client. So if you have, those situations, for example, yesterday I had an HOA that had a violation. I had clients that are very emotional. I know the minute I say, hey guys, here's the HOA, there's violations, they were gonna freak out, right? So the first thing I said is, guys, I have news, we have a violation, but it's something so simple. It's just peeling paint. All you gotta do is sand down and paint. Like, that's it. And so, just doing it. Just do it, get it done. They're gonna appreciate you being honest. They're gonna appreciate your communication. But what matters is that you said it, you have a solution, right? I would love to hear any feedback on anyone's insight on communication and maybe some experiences they've had in their business.
Communication is going to be critical. You can have every best intent in the world, but if you tell your client that you're going to follow up with them and you don't for whatever reason, it's done. I mean, our whole business is based on relationships, and you can't build a relationship without effective communication. So whether your client is effectively communicating on email, on phone call, on text, on social media, there's so many different ways that clients communicate directly with us and prefer to communicate directly with us anymore. So making sure that you find out what their most effective method of communication is, because if they're elder and they don't text, but that's what we use, it's not going to go over very well. So make sure that you find out what their most comfortable and effective method of communication is before you just assume, oh, well, I sent them a text, so I'm touching base with them. Doesn't always work that way.
I love that you mentioned that, because that's something that a lot of us don't use is how do you like to be communicated, right? Some people may like text, some people like their email. So yes, definitely ask those questions and just have massive amounts of communication. Katia, you have your hand raised. Go right ahead.
Hey, I'm driving. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
I also think that communication is very important as well between agents, not just your client. I am still working on getting my real estate license, but I've been doing like TC work and stuff. So that communication that you have between the agents is also just as important, because obviously you got to build relationship with those agents, but you also want the transaction to go smooth. So, my experience been that, we have this one agent that we're asking questions. We need answers and they're not responding. And it takes weeks to get a response. It also leaves a bad taste in your mouth, because you don't want to in the future work with that person, because it's like, how do you do business? You're not communicating. We're in a deal, we're in a contract. We want things to go well. So you should give priority to that agent, because that's who you're in contract with. So yeah, communication goes well, and everyone, all the aspects, your inspectors, your anyone that is dealing with that relationship, for you to have them, the lenders, all of it. Communication goes with everybody. So yeah, that's my intake.
Love it. Yes, yes. Yes, 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 and yes. It's so important to have that communication too. I'm glad you brought it up with partners, right? If you're in a transaction, the other side, all parties involved, and if we lose any little bit of a communication that slips through, it could be like a big disaster for our clients. It could be for the transaction itself. So you have to be very careful. Also, imagine we had one recently where we order a termite inspection. The inspector did not note it. It fell through the cracks. And luckily we we revived it. We got it done right away because we have our checklist that we have to go through and make sure things are done at a timely manner. However, that could have ended up in a delay because, you know, the transaction, the type of client that we had, it is necessary to have a termite, and it's per the contract as well. So yes, communication is so important. And I like to back things up too. Like, for example, you and I can have a verbal communication over the phone or in person. I like to back up myself, maybe send an email following up with that information just to ensure, right? If you're sending out things in via email, I do the complete opposite. Call them and confirm that it got into their hands, right? They have it, they confirm receipt. And so that's a really good way of communicating as well, back and forth. Thank you guys. I love it. I love that you guys are in it. All right. And so my last principle that I want to focus on, and I would love to hear a lot more of you guys on this one, is competence, right? And so building that relationship, right? It's going to be huge if you truly understand who they are, right? What they need. And so that's what communication, right? Being in the moment, asking the right questions, taking notes. But then it comes to how well do you know your industry, right? And so there's so many tools right now. There's so many ways of us maintaining and, staying in like what's happening in the market today. Do your research on whatever it is specifically that is important for your clients, and to ensure that your competence, that you are competent in the industry or in the market, whatever it is that you're selling, right? Because not everybody here could be real estate if you're not real estate. But that is a huge foundation as well, that's showing you're knowledgeable in your department, sharing some feedback of your client, maybe some testimonies, your track record, anything that could help you show to your client or your person that you are building this relationship, that you are knowledgeable, right? That you are the expert. And so what do you have to prove at that moment, right? And so we'll love to hear some of you guys. There's some amazing talent here. What do you think about this principle here of the competence and being knowledgeable?
Oh, for sure. My last brokerage, when I was doing, I used to have a weekly meeting called Rookie Roundtable. One of the biggest things that my agents that were newer in the industry that would bring up to the table is, how do I have that competence when I don't have the knowledge? I said, you got to put in the time, got to do your homework. A lot of agents have so much money invested in just getting their license that they're so panicked about getting a paycheck that they don't understand that they have to practice their profession. Realtors are the least practiced profession in the world. We don't practice writing contracts. We don't practice delivering our listing presentations. We don't practice working with a buyer. We just do it, and we do on-the-job training. They need to be more proficient at actually, and I used to coach them to use their own, they don't have to do it. So I actually was a professionally trained trainer. So I used to have to get in front of a group of my peers. I would have to do a training for them. I would be videotaped, and then I would have to take critique from my peers. The most horrifying thing that you can ever possibly, especially if you don't like video, right? So one of the things I mentioned to my agents was to actually get their phone out in today's age, right? We've got our cell phones. Video yourself. If you have to just start with the audio, just do the audio first, because a lot of what we do is phone conversation. But if you can hear yourself over the phone, hear yourself, not speak, but actually hear what you're saying, or record your conversations and review it. You will never get proficient and competent if you don't practice what you do. So you don't want to practice on your clients. That's not how they know that you're confident. So make sure that you have, every single one of us has every opportunity. Every single day of the week at LPT, we have training. Every single one of us belong to a realtor association that provides training almost every single week. There's no shortage of training. And quite frankly, even if you don't want to do that training, find a partner. find an accountability partner. Jeannette and I bounce each other off ideas off of each other all of the time. There are many people that I will call and say, I've never experienced this before. Let me talk it through with you before I go back to a client, so I sound intelligent about what I'm talking about. It's okay to tell them, that's a great question. Let me find out. Just don't make it up as you go along.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it. And I wrote that down. Don't practice on your client, because it's so true.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. And guys, like, this is why we're here. We're here every single day. There's a knowledge and training and classes happening. We have David here today. Thank you for being here. And he has his coaching training webinars tomorrow, every Thursday. So there's an abundance of training and education. And honestly, if you raise your hand and you just ask someone, I'm sure someone is always willing to be there for you, whether it's shadowing like that. I did that a lot with my personal team. I like that in-person training. And so I would welcome my team members to come, and spend time with me, go to listing appointments together, go to showing appointments together. That being in that kind of environment and seeing others go through, that experience, and you being there actually could take you in a much further deepening of your competence, your knowledge, right? And so you feel more comfortable. And I love your ideas of the videotaping yourself. If you're not comfortable yet, just videotape yourself and watch it, right? You'll get to see what mannerisms you do, maybe certain words that you have, because you have so much like that nervous energy that you just say things. And we all go through it, but we're all humans. Like, just be you, and people will love you, and like I said, live with integrity. Let your words match your actions, with the action match your words. Sorry.
Something
yes,
along the
guys.
lines to Jeannette about the videoing. A lot of people are not comfortable in front of the video. They feel like they've got to be the glam girl or the glam guy or the perfect. Our clients don't see us when we're perfect. They might see us when we're dressed with makeup or groomed, but
Right.
we're never perfect in a perfect world, right? So the more comfortable that you can become in front of your own videos in real time, you can start doing the video communication as well. I mean, one of the things that I do a lot of Zillow leads. And when I have those conversations, I do follow up with a video saying, hi, I just wanted to show you my face. That way, when we meet, you will get to see what I look like, for safety and security reasons. But it's also more entertaining than them actually reading the text. So
That's true.
Don't be afraid of the video, but that's certainly a way that you can work your way into it and feel a little bit more comfortable.
Absolutely. And you have no idea, sometimes by you just doing the one action that you think that you're maybe not good at, all of a sudden it's like peeling that bandage off, and all of a sudden you explore a different side of you that you may not know was even there. And so I welcome you guys to do that. But thank you guys for being here and all the collaboration. I love it. Tune in every Wednesday. We'll have different topics, different guest speakers, all kinds of conversations that help you and your business grow. I feel like for us to be successful, it starts with us, right? It starts with that mindset. And so I try to take an approach of a holistic approach when it comes to the business. So yes, you'll learn about business, what's going to help you grow, but you'll learn also about yourself and maybe some mindset practices to ensure that you are and you are your best. So thank you guys for being here today. Join us every Wednesday at the Freedom Network, and have a great one.
Hey, Jeannette, before we sign off, can I just ask a question on how topics are chosen, or if there's any topics that folks are actually interested in hearing about?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for my training on Wednesdays, I'm open to anything. If you guys just reach out to me directly prior, we can put something together. I actually want to bring out some really good talent and especially topics that are important to you.
All right, so I can work with you, because a couple of things I'm working on with my agents is actually how to qualify effectively a Zillow call, and how to book the appointment. I'm also working with them on building their sphere, different farming techniques and different things that I've worked with in the years that I've been doing real estate. So if anyone's interested in that, I'm certainly happy to come back in here and work with you and share that information.
I love it. I love it. Well, yeah, let's get together, maybe work on some curriculums that we can, we can bring in together.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
guys. Have a great
Nice to
one.
see you.